We learned a lot in nursing school. We learned our ABCs, our bubble keys, and our CBCs, essentially every acronym the alphabet can rearrange. We took over 106 exams, I counted, wrote approximately 47 care plans, spent over 640 hours in clinical, and cared for countless wonderful patients. We learned life skills as well. How to get from the commuter lot to the fourth floor lab in under 2 minutes. How many full REM cycles did we really need to be functional in the morning? How to reason buying a classroom-sized whiteboard for your dining room. And all of the public environments that were acceptable places to cry. All of them. 4 years ago and 4 years younger, we looked around a full lecture hall, standing next to each other as strangers. While the reason to be here was synonymous. We all were there, as we are here today, with a shared calling. We came here to become nurses. However, 4 years ago, we were naive of what this title would mean. 4 years ago, we sat in this building's third-floor hallway, nervously cramming the difference between epithelial and adipose tissue for our anatomy exam. We pulled all-nighters for lab practicals and diligently studied our first real nursing textbook, Nursing Now. 3 years ago, it began to feel like we were making it, as now we had been given our brand new stethoscopes, our first student nurse name tag. It was 3 years ago that I walked out to the living room towards my mom and my sister in my new green scrubs, heart filled with warmth and realness of it all. 3 years ago, we were just trying to keep our head above the water, but we were far off the deep end. We looked back at the freshmen in that same third-floor hallway and thought to ourselves, they have no idea. But neither did we. And then somewhere between the lines of med-surg and now, we grew up. We learned what it felt like to fall short and to fail. Sometimes we felt mentally defeated and physically deteriorated, and we learned what it felt like to cry. But as we started 4 years ago as strangers upstairs, we began to teach each other of what it meant to comfort and to heal. We grabbed each other's hands as lifeboats, and we took turns telling one another that it was going to be okay, that we would make it, and that we would not let the other fail. Recalling and reviving the communal reason we were here to become a nurse. I think that it was in these times, at our lowest, is what we were reminded of what that title meant to us. A nurse is resilient. Resilience is an ineffable quality that allows a person to be knocked down by adversity and come back stronger than before. Yet, as we witnessed, this unmatched courage does not protect a nurse from the trials or tribulations of the job. It does not protect them from the personal introspective hardships. The most important thing we learned and that we must remember is that nurses are first and foremost human. Witnessing a trauma will always be traumatic. Holding a patient as they cry will always feel sad. And being with another as they pass will always bring grief. What resilience is a reminder that this too shall pass. And it is conditioned by the periods of happiness. Hugging a survivor goodbye after administering their last dose of chemo. Passing a mother her new baby after 19 hours of labor. Or just walking in a room to see a patient's face light up and say, I was hoping it would be you today. A nurse is compassionate. We talked a lot about this word in nursing school, and especially in this past year. Often we hear it in regard to a description of a sympathetic person, someone who presents with empathic feelings of care. However, derived from Latin, the root of the word compassion is pati, which means to suffer, and the prefix con means with. In other words, to have compassion means you do not understand nor sympathize, but instead you suffer with. A nurse's call is rooted in this hardship of others. A nurse displaces themselves to another's pain, trauma, and scars. They care, save, and heal through their words and actions. They join in another's suffering for hopes of alleviation. It is the idea that if we could take it all away, if we could make it better, if that were possible, we would. This is their job, but never does it stop nor begin at the clock in, clock out. To be the person that conveys hope to another when it might feel like all is lost can never be taught nor employed. It is innate in a nurse, and it is a response to our call. Finally, a nurse's love. I believe that love is not a feeling, but an enacted emotion. To love is to feel, and it is to want to understand. A nurse's love is selfless. It is knowing that what you want is not important, but that what another may need is always supreme. A nurse's love conveys that regardless of who you are, where you came from, or how you got here, I will take care of you. It is unconditional. I believe that Dean Scoville said it best on our first day of seminar this spring. She reminded us that nursing is regarded as the most trusted profession. That when we add RN to our last name, it means so much more than if we pass a licensure exam. It means that we hold a great responsibility. That when I say, "Hi, I'm Sophie, and I will be your nurse today," is far more than introduction, but instead words that say, "Hi, I'm Sophie. You are accepted, you are loved, and you are safe." On Saturday, we will graduate. Our diploma will represent the years of our education and our accomplishments. Our cap and gown and our walk across the stage will show that we did it. But tonight is different. It does not reflect our completed credits or fulfill requirements of a degree. Tonight is pinning. We walked in as students, but we will leave as a family. Tonight, we become nurses, and every embodiment that title comes with. We are so lucky, and we should be so proud.